Sorry, we are live on YouTube, y'all. So I had to take a moment to switch that thing over and get YouTube in the mix. So welcoming folks up. If you just want to come up and just rap with me for a second, just chat with me. You don't want to contribute to the conversation. Cool, all good. But if you have questions, I'm welcoming you up. If you have an experience that you want to share, you broke in yourself and you want to talk about how you broke in, I'm welcoming you up to come chat with us. Say what's up with it. Share your experience. Let me let I Am Tech Bro up. What's up, I Am Tech Bro? Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. Feel free to request up or drop your questions in the chat. We got a special guest coming through. We're just getting started a little early. What's up, Nigel?
Hi, Nate.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Still busy with work, but...
Oh, yeah. I hope that you're kind of wrapping up your day. I know. What is it over there? 4 p.m.?
Yeah, no, almost 5 p.m. now.
Okay.
Yeah, some minutes before 5 p.m.
Man, I'm the last couple of days I've been connected with my UK folks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, just saying what's up to y'all. I'll be out in that neck of the woods sometime in the middle of the year.
Thank you.
I know.
How is it over there?
It's I'm looking outside right now. I see remains of some snow.
Yeah, well, I live in London, so it's not really the snowy part. It's mostly colder and more white up north. So those guys are really feeling it. But here it's just cold, no snow. I think it snowed for just one day or thereabout. I think 1st or 2nd of January. I can't remember, but that was all about it.
Yeah, man, like that.
And people like to talk about the weather a lot over here. So
yeah, nothing here.
Pardon me.
We're supposed to get like some more stuff coming through, and at this time it's supposed to be more icy, so a little bit more dangerous.
Well, one of my friends said there was a really bad storm. He lives in Texas. Says there was a really bad storm. People couldn't go to school, something like that. Are you aware of it?
Yeah, there's a bunch of smaller cities around here that just completely got snowed in, and I didn't hear about the Texas one, what was exactly happening, but yeah, man, it got crazy like last week and the week before.
Well, I hope you all are doing all right over there. Wishing you all the best.
I appreciate you, bro. You're welcome anytime. Feel free to hang out. We got the special guests in the building. We got Cyber N. We also have Daily on the panel. The Daily Dale, who was just in here the other day and asking great questions, participating. Let's get this party started, y'all. We want to talk about how to break into cybersecurity. We want the tips. We want the tricks. We have Cyber N. Cyber N, are you able to come off mute, chat with us a little bit, give us the good opener intro? Who are you? Where'd you come from? Where are you currently?
Yeah, definitely. What's up, Nate? And hello, everyone. Let me also put my camera on. Give me 1 second. See how this works. Not too used to the live streams. Does the camera work?
Yeah, it's coming through. Yep, okay. Got you. You're
all right. What's up, guys and girls? Yeah, so my name's CyberEnd. I've been on TikTok now, creating cybersecurity content for like the last 2 years, I would say. But I'm a cybersecurity analyst, around 5 or 6 years of experience, and I recently moved to China, and I'm being a cybersecurity analyst out there. And yeah, it's been quite a journey, man, because when I started, it was really hard to get my first role, but then doing a lot of different things, which I guess we'll get into later. But yeah, I guess that's a little bit about me. So nice to join you guys.
Bro, did you just say you're in China right now?
Not right now. I'm back in the UK for the holiday.
Okay.
But yeah, I live in China right now.
Oh, that's amazing, bro. That's amazing. Glad that you are spreading out there and still pushing the mission. And I heard you say that you're working a cybersecurity analyst role, and we want to hear more about that, and especially since sometimes we get folks that are 30 years in the space. Last night we had a gentleman in that was 20 plus years in the space, but we want to chat with the folks who are 1 to 2 to even 5 years in the space, because you have that fresh knowledge of and tips on what's working today to get into the industry. And I want to open that up, and we have a few people on the panel. Feel free to come off mute and ask questions. CyberN is here to help. But CyberN, can you give us a little bit more information on what was your transition into cybersecurity? Did you have IT background before? Can you shed some light into that?
Yeah, definitely, and it's a great question because when I did start, I actually had this idea where I always wanted to go into cybersecurity, which a lot of people that I hear, they don't have it off the bat. But my background, essentially, I did my schooling. So in the UK, we have like GCSEs and A levels. I guess it's equivalent to like college majors and stuff, right? And I picked like computing, and my professor actually, he told me that cybersecurity was something that I should do, because he was saying that like, he basically said I'm not great at coding, and he said cybersecurity, there are some roles that you don't need to code in, and I was like, oh, I want to do computer science, but like I'm not the best coder, so let me try and look at that. And so yeah, I did, and I would say I started quite early, so I started looking at cybersecurity from like 16, but my actual IT fundamental knowledge at that time was really bad. So what I did, I literally built my own PC. That's the first thing I ever did, and from there, I built my own network in my home, and I started buying all these like devices, and I just got to know more about how things work internally, because yeah, I literally had no IT experience whatsoever, so I just had to do anything I could to like get my knowledge up. And then yeah, basically I did a degree in cybersecurity management. That really helped propel me, because in university, if you do a degree which is straight cybersecurity, right? I mean, people know you're serious, you want to do that role. And then from there, I got a placement, and yeah, that was the kind of roadmap that I took. But of course, I did loads of little things in between there. But it's the general stuff that everyone says, like projects. I didn't do like anything super outside the box, but I definitely have more tips to give. But I don't want to give it all away right now. I want to spread it over the course of here. Maybe just wait. Yeah.
That'll work. Feel free. Let's see if we have any quick questions. Ulysses, curate. What you got over there? Curate or even Iron Tech, bro. What you got?
Yeah, so I wanted to. So my background or how I got into tech is a little bit different, and I wanted to just see if I could encourage people who are from a non-tech background, because I think sometimes it's difficult for them. Also, they might not have as much confidence to get into tech or cybersecurity. So I would say that if you already have a career, a non-tech career, and you want to break into tech, I think it's very important for you to do a sort of SWOT analysis of yourself, of your career, see what your strengths are, and be very sincere with yourself, what your weaknesses are, and identify what opportunities are there for you. So always try to find some sort of alignment. If you currently are a lawyer, or you've got, or you work within, within legal industry or what have you, it might be very easy for you to pivot into GRC, for example, because you will be dealing with policies and standards and regulations and whatnot. So that could be an easy pivot for you. And nobody says you can't go from law to pen testing. If you're committed. But I'm saying that there's always some sort of alignment, some sort of synergy. Your soft skills, yes, that's a really big one. And I'm pretty sure CyberEnd would have that as part of his talking points. You know, your soft skills as someone from a non-technical background, because you know it's so interesting that a lot of technical people, they really lack the business sort of acumen, the business lingo. So all they know is how to write code, how to read logs, you know, things that, which is okay. But in a more, business stakeholders would sort of listen to you more, or, you know, they'll be more receptive of you if you don't talk tech all the time. You know, if you have the ability to break things down in a more business friendly way. So people who are coming from non-technical background, these are ways where you can shine, even with your little tech experience or little tech skills. The fact that you can relate well with the business stakeholders would actually be a strength, and those are the things that you probably need to start looking for. This is not me wishing away the technical skills. Of course, you need to have it, but I'm saying don't just focus only on the technical skills. You know, you can also bring your soft skills to play. And looking at the big picture.
Yeah, that's a great point. And let's pass it on over to let's pass it back to CyberEnd. What you got on that as far as soft skills, having that business acumen brought to the surface up to these conversations? Any feedback on how that has helped or not helped from your end?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's such a great point to bring up. And, you know, I really think that in this environment that we're in right now, where it's so difficult to kind of get that entry level role because so many people are now kind of clocking on to these cybersecurity is becoming more and more prevalent, right? So soft skills, I feel like, is what sets people apart. And even my managers have told me, like, they're not looking always for someone who's technical. I mean, you know, they need those people, but when they're looking to filter out for specific candidates, right, they need someone who can present the concepts in a way which the business can understand. And when you're working in a corporate space, right, it no longer becomes about how technical you are. It's about how you can convey those topics to the people who don't understand it. And therefore, for me, because I'm actually not super technical at all, I've tried my best to bridge that gap, and I've gotten a lot better over the years. But when I started, I really came in with just soft skills from like doing drama and like really practicing to figure out what these technical things was and explain it to people who might not understand those things. So if I can say anything, I built my kind of cybersecurity journey more on the soft skills, which actually sounds terrible because you would expect in cybersecurity for that not to be the case. But I see some people mentioning like GRC analysts and stuff like that. Soft skills will work very well for you here. And even if you are doing something more technical, right, you still need to speak to people at the end of the day, right? You're not just sitting in an office and not talking to anyone. So yeah, I truly believe soft skills are the way forward and will continue to be the reason that you can really get these entry level roles.
Nice. And we had a question and comment. What's up, Gideon? Welcome in. All right. Well, before we get to the comments, Daily Delve, you've been up here for a minute. Did you have a question or did you want to share something?
No.
That was my fault. I was trying to mute my mic. I muted your mic. My bad.
Oh, sorry. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
I don't have a question, but I was remember the interview that the individual did like a day or two ago about with one of the firms, and I was interested in that, and I looked into it. Apparently, that was like an education role at a University of Wisconsin. They got a Oshkosh in University of Wisconsin.
Oh yeah.
And they were actually underpaying him. The starting job or the starting pay for that position, or not for entry level position, is around 110 for that firm. So 120 for expert level was or senior level was a bit of a slap in the face.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Cyber End, so to get you kind of to speed, a few days ago, I don't remember how long, we had a live interview that we were able to witness from one of the guests that was on the panel, and they were letting us listen in, and they were being lowballed for a senior level role. As you're looking into specific roles to in alignment with the pay, like how do you navigate that piece? Do you just accept what folks give you, or just take whatever is available? Like, can you shed some light into that area?
Yeah, definitely. And do you know what? I don't, because when I had my first role, right? I was, I think, 19. I had my first cybersecurity role, and I didn't know what the benchmark was, right? So I just took initially what I was given. I could look online, get that general sense, but obviously I didn't know. So I just accepted it. I was happy to be in security. But then maybe like with 1-2 years experience, you start to like talk to people more and see what kind of salaries you should be expecting. And so now the way I navigate the situation is completely different. I tend to kind of go into most of my interview processes kind of like laying out what I expect. And I know it's a kind of not the best way of doing it. Some people tell me like that's too forward. But yeah, I tend to just go with what I expect because I was paid this last time. And if I'm going for a senior position as well, then I would expect a certain amount, right? But it really depends on the employer as well, because like right now, because I don't work for the type of employer which is like giving you the room to kind of wiggle, if you see what I'm saying. Some companies kind of like are very strict on the kind of lines that they will give you, the range of salary. So you really have to work out, in this type of organization, can I be making more? And if the answer is yes, then I feel like you should just let them know this is what I'm expecting from this place. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll use like every resource I can to try and find out what is the benchmark. And if it's not suitable, then I won't really go for it, because the salary matters as well.
Nice. I see Ben Grant in here. Thanks for the feedback, and he mentions culture. As you're entering these interviews, are you also interviewing them and checking out the culture, seeing if you would be a good fit? And does that even matter, or how much does that play into the part of the salary? Would you take a lower salary if the culture is a good fit?
In the beginning, 100%. Like at the start, I was looking all for culture because, as I said, right, my experience in security was not very good. Like not only did I not have it, I mean, I didn't really have IT fundamentals either. So, I mean, if I was going to become a proper security analyst, someday get to senior level, I would have needed to have a place where culture was great, because I would love to learn. And I believe you cannot become proficient in cybersecurity. There's too much to learn unless you actually like where you're at. If you already know it, then you can start looking at salary, right? Because it's kind of like, oh, I know this, I'm gonna make my money, and then okay, later on maybe I can pick a place for culture. And if you get both, that's amazing. But yeah, I truly believe in the beginning you should look at culture. But once you've got the relevant skills, then you can start looking more at salary, I believe.
Nice. I want to pivot over to the SOC analyst role. Do you encourage folks to target that role specifically as like your first cyber role?
Yeah, I would say it's a good one, and maybe I'm biased because like when I did my first role, I was like information security, but I was also like using SOC analyst tools. I was on alerts every day, at least for like 5 hours a day, right? And so I got to know every single type of alert that comes, the reports that come out from that, and that gave me exposure to like GRC elements, pen testing elements, because I was having to look at these vulnerability scans. And I just thought to myself, like, if I didn't do this SOC analyst role, I actually would have to learn everything else from scratch because I just never seen anything before. So I love the fact that I can get in like a little bit technical with the SOC analyst stuff, but at the same time, I was learning like these kind of documentations and reporting as well. So yeah, SOC analyst for me is the best decision. Like I put a lot of hours into that, and I'm really happy now I can kind of like manage a SOC as well. I do that in my role currently. So yeah, I really recommend SOC analyst if you can get that position.
So what do you have, Daily? My bad.
So I just wanted to add something to what Cyber End was talking about. Something that is often ignored in when going for jobs. We don't look at macroeconomics. We're often focused on microeconomics and macroeconomics. And this is my business side coming out. Influences corporations and businesses as well as government contracts and whatnot. And it's extremely important when we look at macro, see what the Fed is doing, whether they're cutting rates, raising rates, what's going on, because that influences how much money the companies have to spend. And if you look at what's happening currently in the cyber field, all the big firms are currently cutting cyber jobs right now. Even though cyber we know is in demand, it's because we're in an economic downturn. It's a tightening cycle within economics. It happens every so often, and we just have to realize when going out for these jobs, whether they be cybersecurity jobs or cloud engineer job or whatever, you're going to get lowballed because companies are cutting their trying to lower their budget, and their biggest budget is individual wages. So if they could cut that, lower that somehow, and still get what they need, because people are going in the jobs, there's someone that's going to bite that $120,000 job, even though that's a low ball. Someone's going to take it, even with all the stuff, because of what's happening, not only in macro, but then you look at the micro. People are broke right now. People need money. Everything is going higher, and people have to start looking at this because cyber is like the heart of tech, I call it. And being the heart of tech is the biggest field that's influenced when rates get cut or rates rise. And with rates the way they are right now, we are getting hurt. Just want you guys to realize.
I'll throw in something in there too, because even in that interview just the other day that we were able to experience, it came out in the person put out that offer. You know how they usually like to do this tango dance. First they put the range of what they can pay. Then when you actually get in with them, they do this dance where, what do you want to make? What are you looking to make? Well, I want to make the maximum, obviously. But and then she came forward and said something to the effect of, yeah, we got this range, but we rarely even hit the top end of that. So like Cyber End, how do you navigate even Tech Bro? If you want to, I am Tech Bro. If you want to come in and say something too, like when you see that range, like we automatically want to go to let me get the top end of that, especially if I qualify. But the reality is the top end is not really there for you. It's for you to grow into probably. But how do you navigate that? Maybe it's a negotiations piece that I'm saying, but what's your mindset on that piece?
If I could respond to that, so in my own experience, it's a little bit different because I've worked with the non-government organizations, I've worked in the private sector, I'm currently working in the public sector. So I'd say it's a little bit different. Public sector, for example, they have very rigid budgets, and but they usually have, because government jobs comes with some sort of security, and there's opportunity for you to grow within a band or within a grade, and opportunities for you to also grow above a particular grade. So I would say, when it comes to negotiation, public sector, it might be a little bit difficult, and you might have to take what they give you. But when they tell you that every year you would advance within your grade, that's a good thing, because you could be in a private sector and not get promoted in 3 years, 4 years, and you probably won't be able to do anything about it. You can't report them. You probably need to find another job. But in the public sector, it's a bit different. It's like there's already the structure of how to progress. You know how they call it the corporate ladder. But in the private sector, it's a little bit nuanced. It's not straightforward. So your best bet would be to get all you can at the point of entry. As you're coming in, try to negotiate for all you can get. Of course, they would probably give you a range, and my formula is just be in the middle. So if the range is 75k to 85k thousand pounds per year, for example, I just tend to stay within 80k. It's more like a win-win situation. That would be my approach to this. But for people like Nate, who would rather try to start from the higher end of the bar, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. What I just want to point out is be careful at what point you start negotiating, so it doesn't you don't come across as you're just here for the money. Of course, we're here for the money, but you don't want to come across that way. So maybe after your interviews, when you see that you've got a really strong standing, then you can visit the issue of pay, because I'm sure you must have some sort of rough idea before you even apply for the role. Especially here in the UK, they try as much as possible to put a figure or at least a range to whatever role they're advertising for. So as long as you know what range, just sort of pick a number in your head, because recruiters will probably ask you, so how much do you want us to pay you? Some of them might ask you, how much are you currently being paid? And for those of you who don't know, it's not compulsory. You don't have to answer them, or you don't have to tell them what you're currently earning. It's sort of prefer to say or prefer not to say kind of question. So if based on whatever range they've provided, if you're happy with the lower end, well, that's fine, that's you. But I don't see any reason why you shouldn't sort of push things to a middle ground. So that could be a good strategy for you to use moving forward. But I just want you to know that it's a different ball game within the private sector and also within the public sector.
So I agree with you on that, but you got to realize what's happening in macroeconomics, and I think that's very important. Like I just posted, Oracle laying off 30k people. That's significant in our field because Oracle deals with cyber, and if there's more people out there looking for jobs, now you might have a range of 150, but if there's someone willing to take 120, 130, you have to realize that, like, if there is supply and demand is going to impact your decision. So you might be overselling or underselling yourself and not realizing it. So it's really, really important to understand macroeconomics.
Yeah, what you got on that, Cyber N? I want to hear your take.
Yeah, so after listening to I worked in the public sector for quite a while, and because of that, that's why I fully understand his take, because you can't really negotiate in those sense in that public sector. And when I worked in the private sector, right, this is like in the beginning, and so I really couldn't afford to make those kind of, how to put it, like, I want this salary because it's like the middle of the range. I more had to look at it from, this is a good opportunity for me to progress and make money further down the line. So when I talk, I always am talking from entry level point of view. I don't want to talk from like if you're already in your career, because then I think it's completely different. And for me, I'm more closer to the entry level than not, right? So yeah, I will talk from my experience. If you're trying to get your first job within cybersecurity, I think culture, just accept the fact that this is the base salary. And if you can get a little bit more because you do have maybe a few more certifications or whatever, more experience than most people for that job, then okay, you can say something. But otherwise, use that do as well as you can in that job, and then you can start to negotiate salary. So yeah, that's what I would have to say about that one.
Even at an entry level position, don't be afraid to ask what the starting pay is for that position. I think people fear that question because they don't want to come off as sounding like they're after money, but nobody's going to advocate for you but you during that interview. The company doesn't have your best interest at heart, they have the company's best interest at heart. So if you're not asking that question, you're short selling yourself.
Yeah, let me jump in. Let me reset the room. Welcome in, everyone. We have a special guest in the building. We have Cyber N. Please take some time to go follow him. Check out his page. He's talking about how to break in. We have several people on the panel. Welcome in, Ash. Thank you, The Daily, for your feedback. We have I Am Tech Bro, who was a previous guest and it always comes through to contribute. Gideon, feel free to come off mute and chat with us. Right now, we've been talking about some of the financials, the dollars. You know, what salary? How do you navigate that conversation? How do you negotiate? What are some pro tips around that? I would say, and you all can jump in at any moment. I would say that you should understand kind of what the Daily was saying about the micro and the macro, but also layer in there what is your value. Understand what your value is based on your credentials, the hard work that you've done, your knowledge base, what you can do for this specific industry / specific role. And is there room to grow? Like, understand your number. What is your number? You should always have your number in per hour in annual salary. And then you should also understand is this a 1099 opportunity? Is it a W-2 opportunity? You know, you should understand what your number is in both scenarios. I'll land it there, and if y'all want to jump in or even pivot to a different piece, I'm good.
And here's another thing, use AI to your advantage. You could actually throw your resume in there and ask it, hey, what do you estimate my pay should be based off of what's happening in this area, based off of my experience. And it'll give you the low end from my experience. It'll give you the low end of what you should take. I don't think you should take anything lower than that.
Just to add to that, yeah. So for entry roles, if I'm being honest, I think don't be too worked up on what you're gonna get paid. Because as an entry level person, you're high risk. We don't even know if you can do the job. You know what I mean? So it's an opportunity for you to get on the team, learn as much as possible, you know, give into it. I think worrying about how much money you're gonna get paid as a newbie, as someone who's green, and you know you don't really have lots of years of experience. I think you should just chill a little bit about, you know, when it comes to money, and use that opportunity to grow yourself. Give yourself 2 years to take that shitty pay. Give yourself 2 years, but that 2 years, make sure that you learn the heck out of whatever it is that organization has to offer. After 2 years, you have a better standing to negotiate with your next employer. You know, you would talk from experience. You wouldn't talk from just confidence. You would talk from actual, you know, problems that you've solved. And because you've got your eye on the target, while you're getting that shitty pay, you know, you're already doing more work than you currently know that you're being paid for, because you've got a plan. 2 years after, you would use the experience that you've gathered, you know, taking that shitty pay to negotiate for a better pay. You know, so it's just about you having a plan. And I really, really agree with the Daily. I can't see your full name. The
Daily is fine.
The Daily Delve. Yeah, I really agree with you that you're on your own best advocate. But then, you know, context really matters. If you already have 4 years, even 2 years experience, you know, you can actually command some type of salary, let alone 5 years, 10 years. You know, at that point, or as applying for a senior role, you already know your stuff. Yeah, everybody, we all are still learning. But with 5 years experience, you already know some stuff that can be really valuable to your employer. So why not, negotiate what you want for that, for in exchange for your skills. But as entry level or someone who's just coming new, I think your focus should be more about what can I learn, how fast can I develop myself, other than how much are they willing to pay me.
And that's exactly.
Let me hear from Ash, and then we'll go to the daily, and then Cyber N.
I completely agree with I Am Tech, because it is important you negotiate and you do the job, but like if you're getting into your very first cybersecurity role, you should absolutely just go for it and not be too fussed, because I moved sideways into cybersecurity. I didn't know certification, I didn't know anything about tech, but I managed to get into it because all the conditions worked out for me, luckily. But getting into projects, if you're working in a large enterprise, getting that like beginning admin, help desk, IT, whatever role you might be in, I highly recommend like working on projects that have a cybersecurity focus, then pitching yourself to the internal cybersecurity team and getting some shadowing and work-life practices before you kind of make that move. So I took the role in my very first kind of information security role as an underfill, which is basically something that enterprises do, again, when they want to hire somebody, but they can't find the right candidate. And so they're like, okay, we know you don't have any of the knowledge or the essential experience, but actually you've got the internal context, which is just as valuable for a lot of people, especially because it involves a lot of like understanding stakeholders and navigating complex relationships effectively in the GRC space especially. So once I did that, I stayed there for 2 years, exactly as I Am Tech said. I learned all of the basics and then went on and got a 20K jump in my next role. So it's definitely possible, and like think about the end game and where you want to be in 5 or 8 years and kind of go like see the big picture rather than losing out on a cybersecurity role because your expectations didn't match up to what was being offered, because you can easily move within 6 months, within a year, and still land in a consulting role at 40K or whatever, as a starting salary.
So I agree. Like my background is like military intelligence, and I pivoted from military intelligence, where I was making around 120 at that time as a contractor, into cyber, where I was making 80,000, and it went from. But I looked at the entirety of the picture, because again, I was looking for stability. I took a huge gamble. I was close to getting married. I was going to get married the following year. And so I'm talking to my fiance, and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about taking this job. It's a $40,000 pay cut. They give you a $10,000 sign-on bonus. What do you think? She's like, well, you just worked your whole time making where you're at right now, and now you're taking a huge step back. And then I had to explain to her, hey, I'm looking at a couple of things, stability and growth. Where I'm at right now, the growth has pretty much capped out. I might get to 140, 150, but that's pretty much the highest I'm gonna get, and it's gonna be a struggle trying to get there. Whereas in this field, I'll start off at 80, but I could guess within 4 to 5 years, I'll be higher than where I'm at now. And that's and I looked at it from not just like, okay, well, it's a pay cut, but I looked at what opportunities did that new organization offer? What training opportunities did they offer? Did they offer like for anything for me to grow as a cyber person? And how can I incorporate what I already know into that new position? So I went in and started doing threat intelligence and digital network analysis, and started networking, and eventually my pay now is close to 160. So, and I got the stability that I was looking for, and I get the training and all these other things that come with it. So it was a gamble that paid off, but I think everybody has to make that decision on their own. Don't just go, oh, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door, and the first job that comes up I'm gonna take just because I'm trying to get my foot in the door. I don't recommend that. Look what opportunities that job offers. If that job offers growth, then take it. If it's just something like you're just getting your foot in the door and you're going to be sitting there, help desk support, and you're not going to get any growth, I don't recommend it, because then you're short selling yourself.
Yeah, it's a lot of good guidance.
But I think, just a little bit of a contrary opinion, I think every job gives you an opportunity to grow. You just have to see it. You just have to identify it. You know, it's not the responsibility of your employer to grow you, in quote. It's your responsibility to grow yourself. You know, yeah, I agree with you that the company, the organization should give you enabling environment to grow, but it's not your boss's job for you to develop yourself. So I think we're all on the same page, maybe just different. We're all on the same chapter, just maybe different pages. But whatever works for you. But I think for an entry-level role, the competition is stiff. You might not really have the luxury to pick and choose. So if you do have the luxury to pick and choose, by all means, look at all the benefit that comes with it, whatever package or benefits or pros that come with the job, yeah, fine. But if that's not there, but you see the company as there's an opportunity for you to push yourself. There's an opportunity for you to, even the fact that you're working in a real world enterprise environment is a plus. Other than you just sit in your room and building labs, you know, year in, year out. The fact that you're out there having an actual organization that you work for, even though the pay is not great for for an entry-level role, I think you could eventually make it work, other than just shutting the door saying, oh, this is not worth my time. I don't think as an entry-level person, I'm not quite sure if that would be a great strategy to start your career with. Well, that's just my 2 cents.
Well, the reason I said what I said was because there are certain positions out there that I've actually been involved with where you'll be working like more than you realize, and you won't have time to grow. You're just working. They'll just keep working you to the point where you don't have any extra time to go get additional certs, go get additional training, and they don't offer that, and they just want to work you. And having been part of that, those are the kind of companies and organizations you want to avoid as an entry-level person, because you're growing, you're learning, but you're not expanding to the point where, like, okay, well, I could take this and I could grow my pay X amount. I have my take is you should be growing, whether it be by changing jobs or whether it be within your job, beating out inflation. If you're not, you're losing money, realistically. And I look at it from a business standpoint because, again, I got an MBA and I look at everything from a business standpoint. So if you're not growing by a certain percent based off what the inflation rate is, you're losing money, and you have to be growing through training, certs, or whatever. So people don't look at that.
Nice.
What opportunities are there for entry-level roles for you to pick and choose? That's where I'm looking at this from. Because if you can go with the grind, just like Ash said, she also did the same thing. If you can go with the grind, the future is bright. There's light at the end of that tunnel.
But again, so, I put in like hundreds of job position requirements, and
yeah,
I was getting denied over and over. I was close to giving up, and that's where I think people fall in the trap. Like they go, I put in so many positions, I can't get anything. I'm going to take whatever comes up, you know? I think you have to realize what your value is, and that's the most important thing. I think you have to realize what you bring to the table, and don't oversell yourself.
What do you bring to the table as a newbie? What do you bring?
Well, you still bring something to the table. Otherwise, the company would not hire you.
Yeah, they're hiring you because they need someone to get coffee.
I don't.
I'm just joking. I'm joking.
That's where we're gonna draw the line. All right, let me pivot. Good points. Let me pivot over to Gideon. Gideon, did you have something to layer into this piece, or did you have a different question? Cause we're beating this one up pretty good, and we've made some good progress. What you got over there, Gideon?
All of you are the senior people in this cybersecurity stuff, but I am an entry level person, and I don't really give a fuck. Sorry, I don't really care about like the money aspect. It's just like my experience, how I'm able to learn. But what I just wanted to ask was that how was your cybersecurity learning life when you started cybersecurity? How many hours? How long did you put? How much time did you put into learning cybersecurity? Because it's something that is really broad and it's something that is really big.
Perfect. That's a great question. Cyber N, take it, and then anyone else can layer in. Sorry to cut you off, Gideon. The question was perfect. Let's go.
Yes, great question. So, yeah, for me, okay, so when I started, just before getting my first role, obviously I was doing the cybersecurity management degree. And at the same time, so that's knowledge already, right? Like going into my head every day, going to the seminars. And then on top of that, I was studying for the security pass. And at the same time, I was also doing random projects, like I was actually just going onto Google and typing in cybersecurity projects, seeing what I could do, going on YouTube. And to be honest, a lot of it, I felt like it wasn't going in my head because I was actually just doing like cybersecurity like 5-6 hours a day, including like the seminar times, right? And actually, if you would ask me like what I was doing, sometimes I couldn't even tell you. But then I think it was like after 6 months of doing that kind of like straight, like I really had some like eureka enlightenment moment where things started to like just come together for me. Like I could look at a problem and I could actually tell you different steps. One specific example is that we kind of had like a group challenge to do this cybersecurity risk assessment, and like, you know, I'd never lead anything in my group before in university, and all of a sudden I kind of just knew how to approach it, the layers, the steps to go through. And I know it's quite vague, but I truly believe if you start surrounding yourself with all types of information to do with cybersecurity. So what I would do, I just followed a bunch of Instagram people, TikTok, Twitter, started listening to podcasts, and then just doing the lectures and stuff. Once you surround yourself and that's all you know, then it kind of becomes like second nature. I kind of just stopped watching like normal YouTube videos that I'd watch and all this anime that I'd watch, and just started to like do cybersecurity. But like now I'm a lot more chill, so I probably study cybersecurity like on the weekend for like 1 or 2 hours, and because my job is like 9 to 6, right, so it's quite long. But yeah, that's what I did in the beginning, and that's what gave me the momentum to kind of get into my first role. Hope that answers your question.
Like that's it. So all of your focus were basically on cybersecurity at that period, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. But me, I'm trying to balance everything, my work life. I'm trying to also build a project and like a business project aside cybersecurity, and also focus on cybersecurity. So I've been trying so hard to think to have this understanding, this knowledge of cybersecurity on the whole. I don't know if the time affects the studying and understanding the process.
If I could jump in here, so I think I'm always in this situation because I'm a knowledge junkie. I'm always learning something, and I hardly go out. I'm always in front of my computer and whatnot. I think what can help you, and I'm assuming, Gideon, that you're working and you want to learn, or probably you're trying to pivot. So the thing is, what free time do you have? Are you free on weekends? Are you free 1 hour? Again, it's about the discipline of consistency, not necessarily, it's about quality over quantity, if you know what I mean. Now, in my own case, when I wanted to get into tech, I took a year off. I registered myself in a computer school and I started learning programming. I started from the hardest part, but that might not work for you because I totally wanted a career change and I did that, took a year off. So that might not work for you, but what free time do you have? And I think the major problem is information overload. People get so bogged down with a lot of information when it comes to cybersecurity. And I think almost every one of us here must have experienced it at one point or the other, where you're just so confused because there's a lot of path, there's a lot of opportunities. You're not sure if you should go towards SOC or penetration testing or GRC or whatnot. So I think what can help in this case is find a way to get good advice, focus on one part of cybersecurity, and dig deep into that. Along the way, you'll pick up other, knowledge of other domains, but pick one, stick with it. If you realize that you don't like it, you can easily move to a different domain. But the knowledge you already gained or gathered to it. For example, let's say you decide to go into networking, and after 6 months of studying networking 1 hour every day, you realize you don't like it. Then you can pivot to IAM. That knowledge of networking, you would find it useful. It can come in handy, in IAM. If you realize that you don't like IAM, then you can look towards ethical hacking, whatever way. But just try to focus on one thing at a time, because that way you don't overload yourself, you don't get frustrated, and that would be my advice to you.
As again from I work in the federal side, so I can give you a federal side perspective. I don't know if that'll help. And this is the U.S. federal side. So in the federal side, there's two paths you could take. There's a technical path and there's a leadership path. And depending on what your goals are, you gotta first realize that you wanna be a supervisor or you wanna be a technical expert. Both the pay doesn't really matter for either one. They both end up about the same when you consider all the bonuses and everything. But what IAM said is correct. You need to figure out what, whether you want to look at cloud security, whether you want to look at threat intel, whether you want to look at different forms. Like, think of cybersecurity as like the medical field, right? You got doctors, then you got doctors that are specialized in different things like orthopedics, heart surgeons, and whatever. When you go into the medical field, you don't go, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. You go, I'm going to be X, Y, and Z. Same thing with cybersecurity. Don't just go in there, say, I'm going to be a cybersecurity guy. Go in there knowing what you're going to do in cybersecurity and try to go that route and then learn from it. And then if you're going to pivot, but don't lose your experience. If anything, you'll be more valuable if you do pivot to your next team, because now you could bring new experiences within cybersecurity to that new team. You'll be able to talk another team's language, which is often a big gap. Like engineers can't really talk to analysts oftentimes, my experience, because engineers are often talking differently and analysts are talking differently. So if you could bridge that gap between two sects of cybersecurity, you'll be better off.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I really appreciate all of you for giving me the process to understand cybersecurity. So I have not really gone deep. I just started a computer institute at my neighbor side. So I have started, I'm trying to understand concept and maybe pivot like you guys said. So I have researched more about the SOC analyst field. So the blue team part of cybersecurity, I would love to go there, but my minds are still at work. So I might when I'm done studying, when I'm done with my computer institute there, and I might pivot to a different field entirely. So
Nice. Let me jump in, y'all. Let me jump in. We had several people just jump on the panel. I want to spread the love because we only got about 10 minutes left. We have Cyber in for about 10 more minutes, and then we're going to shut the live down. We're talking about how to break in. We're talking about tips, tricks, pro tips, all that. Bethel or even Rollins, do y'all have a question or do y'all want to share something?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rollins from Africa, especially in Cameroon. I'm trying to break in cybersecurity, especially in SOC analyst. My question is, can I break into the SOC analyst in 1 year or less without going to school, without going to a professional school, or learning by myself and
Perfect.
That's cybersecurity.
Perfect. We can work with that, bro. We can work with that. Cyber in, what you got on that? And then if anyone in the panel want to jump in, go ahead. Feel free.
Yeah, great question. So, can you do it? I'll just say straight away the answer is yes, it's possible, but it depends on so many different factors. And I don't know if you was here earlier when I was speaking about like when I first got my first role in cybersecurity. I spent a long time, so like 6 months doing a long stretch of hours of studying, and I heard some people say that could be like information overload, and I do think if you're not that type of person who is going to like just crash and just do a lot of things in one day, it could be quite hard to do it in 1 year, just because to become a SOC analyst now, I think maybe the requirement would be you would get like a security plus that could take you maybe 2-3 months if you already got some experience in IT. So I don't know your background. If you have no experience, then sometimes that could even take 8 to 12 months if you really want to get the foundations 100%. But what I would say is if it's really like something that you're very passionate about and you want to do it, then 100% you can do that. And I genuinely know many people who have broken into cybersecurity at the ages of 21, 22, and they have gone to like a level 1 SOC. And these are my friends actually. So I've got a lot of experience in that. So if you do want to see if it's possible to do that in 1 year, you can DM me. I can hopefully help you with that. Yeah, I could ask my friends to see how they did it. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are able to do that, but you need to put a lot of work in. I went to school myself, so because I had the degree, maybe it could have been easier for me. But yeah, you can definitely do it, to answer your question.
All right, let's Bethel, what you got real quick?
Okay. I have some questions for you guys. I had a friend of mine who has been advising me, like tutoring me on how to go about cybersecurity, mostly on penetration testing, red teaming. And I've been able to realize that penetration testing is all about understanding the basics and the fundamentals of networking. So I don't really know. I've been going through YouTube and some other platforms learning networking, but I haven't seen what I'm looking for. Just too hard for me to do. And I really want to ask, like, how long will it take for me to be fully loaded with all of this knowledge?
Let me jump in first. Great question. Bethel, you need to find you someone who works in the space, and you need to latch onto them, and you need to suck their brain dry with all the information that they want to share with you, because there's folks out there that's willing to share. You have to do the work to go find them, and then they can be somewhat of a mentor if they want to step into that role. But that's the first step that I would guide you towards, and I'll land it there. What you got, Cyberan?
Yeah, I want to piggyback off what Nate said. It's really about knowing the right people to talk to. Because pen testing, so we have a pen tester in our company. He's actually the only in-house pen tester in the entire company. And actually, he has come from a background of like no experience in cybersecurity or IT, right? And he's somehow able to navigate his way into this first role, really good position. And yeah, I honestly don't know the ins and outs of how he did it, but you're right, pen testing is a lot of basics, so networking, but you need to be really strong on Linux and things like that, right? So yeah, I can't tell you the exact way to do it, but just to echo what Nate said, find someone who does know, and through that you can see if it is something that aligns with you. Yeah.
Yeah, find multiple. Find people who have been in the space find that veteran, the 20 years plus, been there, done that. Go chat with that individual, and go also chat with the folks who just broke into the space, just like CyberN said, and get their feedback as well.
And someone asked in the chat, what's better, degree or certs? I've got both, and I'm just going to tell you, depending on how soon you're trying to break into the field. If you're trying to break into the field immediately, certs are going to be your best bet. That shows level of competency, and you could go in and say, hey, I've got this X, Y, and Z, and it's also a lot cheaper, realistically. And just go the certs route. The degree, if you're trying to move into higher level management positions, that's when the degrees will come in handy. But even then, like at cyber, you could make good money with just certs, personally.
Yeah, I have a take on that. I want to hear your take, CyberN. Degrees versus certs, bro.
Yeah. This is something that always comes up when I'm talking with people, and yeah, I used to have a different view, but I have to agree that certs will get you in the door earlier, and you can still do very well with certs, but I'll just tell you directly. So two of the companies I work for, you cannot get a job in cybersecurity in the company that I work for now without a master's degree. And I don't actually have a master's degree because I got in through like a graduate scheme, right? But if you want to work and you're coming internationally, so you want to work overseas, they need the requirement, basically knowing that you have that degree. That's something which is very important to them. Likewise, I know people who work in the UK without a degree doing very well, making big money as well. So actually, I think it really depends on what you want to do, what you want to be. If you want to more go to a CISO type of route, I think having like an MBA or some type of degree will be very, very favorable for you, especially if you want to work internationally. But if you just think maybe technical and just climbing your way up, knowing more, those type of people will not really care as much about your degree because they know that experience is probably more valuable than the actual degree itself. Because at the end of the day, degree can just be a piece of paper. And I know people who do degrees who didn't go to university, just got the degree. So I don't think it means everything, but it is a commitment, and that student debt is still hurting me. So yeah, it's a great question.
I work with people right now making over 200K and they don't have degrees. I just want you guys to know that. So degrees don't mean anything. Once you got your foot in the door, you've proven your worth. That's really what matters. You know what you're talking about. You prove your worth. You show that you're not just someone with a cert or someone with a degree. Because similar to what CyberN said, as there are people that have degree, that it's just a piece of paper. A cert is nothing more than a piece of paper. It's what you do when you get your foot in the door that matters more, and that's how you prove your worth. So once you do that, your pay will just keep going up, and that's how you, I think, grow as a person.
Yeah, so everyone, we're about out of time, so we may have one time for one more question, but let me just say, follow CyberN. He is constantly talking about this topic and providing great insights. Follow I Am Tech Bro, and also follow the Daily Delve. There's some people in the chat that's also great to follow, like Sham Chats Cyber over there. And some other folks. We're all leaning in to help out. So Bethel, did you have one more question, bro? Or Gideon or Roland? Rollins. Last one. Going once, going twice. You're out of there, bro. No, I'm playing. All right, CyberN, any last words, bro? Any last tips that you haven't been able to share that may have come up related to this topic, we will definitely have you back because you got a wealth of knowledge. But anything that you wanted to drop on the way out?
Yeah, I'll say a quick few last comments. And yeah, thanks for all the comments as well. A lot of great people on TikTok, given a lot of knowledge, and even myself, I listen to like pretty much all these guys, watch their videos, and I'm learning every single day. The one main piece of advice I really want to give to everyone is that if you are trying to become a cybersecurity, whatever title, right, or if you're just trying to work in the tech space in general, I really want you to focus on yourself rather than focusing on what exactly other people tell you, because everybody's story is different. So whether someone says you do a degree or you do an apprenticeship or you just do a cert, you don't have to do any of those things. You could do something else. I mean, all right, you want to get one of them at least, but your path is not someone else's path. So when you ask like what's a good roadmap, etc., it's not always going to be your roadmap. So take every hit, take every experience that you can, send more messages to more creators, small creators, whatever you can do, and honestly, it will help you so much. And that's what I did getting in. I just surrounded myself with a plethora of people, plethora of knowledge, and really look up to all the guys speaking today and girls. And thank you very much for the opportunity to come on here today. And yeah, thank you very much. I hope you guys learned something. And yeah, it will be great to be back.
All good, bro. Glad to have you. And I saw Cloud Tech exec popped in. Everyone, I think that's a great way to land it and end it for the day, just because you have to look within. Even when I join these other lives, Cloud Tech exec is handling these questions, and folks just don't know what they want. You have to have a intense conversation with yourself, not just overnight. Take a week to figure it out and go figure out what's available. Do some independent research. Go figure out what options are available in your area, and then reverse engineer from there. And so that way you can equip yourself with the knowledge, so that way you can know what you want. You can know the dream role. You know the 5-year, 10-year plan, because you've asked people questions and did some independent studying and figuring it out. So you have to figure that piece out. And then you come to these forums and these areas where we're chatting, and then you put it out there. Hey, I'm trying to get into pen testing. I don't know the path, or I've been connecting with these pen testing folks, and I have what I need. They're making sure that they're helping out. And if they don't help out, then you go find you another one. Go find you someone else who wants to lean in and help out. So we'll leave it there. Check my profile. We have some upcoming talks coming up. Banger speakers, and I wish everyone a great rest of their afternoon, evening. Thanks so much, CyberN. Thanks, I Am Tech Bro. Thanks to Daily. Thanks everyone for participating in the panels and in the chats as well. Appreciate it. Thank you.